So Sham, do you want to tell us what we're doing here today?
Well, it is my hearing today against the defendant, 3 p.m. Master Armstrong was the judge, but then again, he was running fraud. He proved it, he was running fraud. He has been running fraud on my case since he took over nearly 8 months. He has been hiding, keeping secret of my claim. He never disclosed to me. There was no defense by the defendant, so he kept it secret all the way long until I discovered a few months ago by one of his clerks. So now he was trapped not to accept. He's not accepting. There was no defense, and I don't know. He said that to defendant there was no defense submitted, but then now he still said. Now he accepted some sort of paperwork as a defense at the hearing, but then according to the rule, if there was no defense within 28 days, he lost the case. But no, he didn't.
Okay, Edward, your version of it.
Sham did very well. All we needed was an audio record that was personal responsibility proof against an identifiable judge. That's what he got today.
And what was the conversation with the usher at the end?
The court officers are more interested in what is happening in the preparation for the dismissal of the judges than they were previously. They know change is on the way. They like to hear the background to it.
And as far as you're concerned, the judge said that it was not public interest?
It's a fraud case. By applying for a certificate of general public importance, it got a certificate refusal. And then he asked when an application was made for leave to appeal, what were the reasons? The reasons given were fraud, so he denied any fraud. We end up with an audio record that is excellent for the purposes of dismissal. We also end up with appeal grounds that includes the refusal to grant a certificate of general public importance on fraud issues.
And you don't think it's that important, the fact that the judge was adamant that the matter was getting transferred to Ilford County Court? That does not exist.
Oh, that is wholly irrelevant. The fact that the Ilford County Court was closed years ago, frankly, it's Romford County Court is where he meant.
Well, where did he get Ilford from? Because it's not on the paperwork.
I don't think it really matters. That's a trivial issue. It shouldn't be allowed to detract from the substantive issues.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, guys. Well done. Sham? Oh, Kwesi, do you want to tell us about your issues, your court issues? What do you think about this?
My court issues were from today.
No, from before, and that what you saw today witnessed a failure of justice to Sham.
Yeah, it's all frauds, isn't it? I mean, the judge came out straight away, sort of intimidating, speaking very fast, which for a litigant in person shouldn't have been the case. And yeah, he was acting as defendant from the dock because there were no defences filed, and yet the defendant was allowed to produce document. I mean, these were questions that should have been dealt with for an hour hearing. I think we could have got more in the audio. For an hour's hearing, there should have been, patience to be able to ask why he didn't file the defence as it was ordered before the hearing, and yet he had the papers to be producing. So that was all concealment frauds.
Now, Sham, there's a reason for that behaviour of the judge. Your son, who's the defendant, he came in 10 minutes late,
Exactly.
and then he corrected the judge. It's not Ilford twice. It's not Ilford County Court. It's Romford County Court. And your son lied that the case was live in Romford County Court, and there is no live case.
No,
in the Romford County
Court. There was
Court.
nothing in Romford County case filed by me. No.
And that's
No. What it is from the chancery claim being sent there, Romford County Court has not, and this is about over a month now, has not officially written to you to say that, okay, this case has now been transferred here and we now have it here. So there isn't a successful transfer,
That's
which is
right.
why I think they're trying to say he's now been put on the documents as Ilford. So then they're going to make the excuse that, oh, well, it's been transferred to an unknown court. But choose is the fact that how he dealt with today, power to make directions, and to make directions to, you know, to add it back to the other case. And this was simply, oh,
I just want the sign showing. Go on.
okay.
Come back in, but I just...
Yeah. This
Yeah,
was
sorry.
simply a case of a default judgment. We don't even know why we had to come to a hearing, because the defendant hadn't filed a defense from when the case was filed, and even on a recent default judgment request, he failed to file a defense. So,
And we
was
know why
defenseless.
the judge favoured your son, don't we? Because your son is a systems analyst for Lloyd's Bank.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
the Lloyd's Bank refused to let you settle
Yeah.
the arrears.
Correct. No, it's all because of the Lloyd's banking fraud. Lloyd's banking running this fraud. Lloyd's banking are paying all the big money
well,
to all these
it's conflict
judges.
of interest if the son actually works for Lloyd's Bank.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Lloyd's Bank, I mean, I never knew this, so
Yeah.
this.
Oh, yeah,
this
he was
this should have been
analysis.
pointed out.
Then
he was.
Oh yeah, he was analysis head officer at Lloyd's banking for 2.5 years. Then he joined the network of Lloyd's banking to run the fraud. He is in charge of running the fraud on behalf of the Lloyd's banking funding.
And there was a very sort of a friendly, a biased communication
Yeah,
between
between
the
the
judge
two
and
of
the
them.
son, which
That's
was
right, every
very
time.
visible.
The judge
Every time.
trusted the defendant 100%,
I mean,
did not believe Sham.
the same way.
Every time judges and defendant are friends. Every time judges and friends
The
are
same
friends
way-
because they get big money paid.
The same way the judge was able to make his own decisions on what he had seen, why did he not question the fact that no defense had been filed? And then he tried to justify the son's, when the son produced the documents, which should have been produced electronically on a file, because it's a concealment fraud.
Yeah.
Because now he's taking those papers back. So those papers are still not on the file.
No.
The judge then says that, well, this couldn't have been filed on there, so they pretended because he hadn't put a case number, and it was key number.
And
that
when
was-
Sham tried to serve his bundle, the judge returned it to him.
oh,
The
but it
judge
was
has
filed
got no hard
electronically.
copies on the file.
Yeah, he said I got the email.
He's
from-
got it on email only. It's
He
not
said
in
I
the
don't need it because we printed it from email.
Right.
They asked for the paper.
Well, what I take from it is I think next time we go in with a bit more strategy and to actually exhaust the time rather than let the judge run the case out. And he literally,
He was reading off the screen, word for word, what his...
oh, okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he did. And he was reading very quickly. When you say reading quickly,
Yes.
He was
yeah.
reading it
as you
on
said,
the
I thought he
screen.
was speaking quickly, but yes, he was reading very quickly,
Yeah.
which is intimidating, especially for a litigant in
Yeah.
person. I expected him.
Look, the way I gathered, he knew what to do. He knew how to run the fraud. He knew how to check me out.
no, he was told what to do. Not
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he knew.
Yeah, he was
He was
told.
programmed.
He was told with big money paid. I
Bribed.
told him in the end. I said, you were
Bribery.
running fraud on my case for the last 7-8 months.
Yeah.
I said to him in the last minute.
Yeah, sure.
In future, we should just exhaust the time. That's all.
We were
want
only
to do.
there 22 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. It was an hour listing.
An hour
He proved
listing.
it. He proved it. He was running fraud with big money paid.
Yeah.
I think
sure.
So in future, it's we come and make the most of the time. Well done.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you
everybody.
too.
Thank you. So here we are. Royal Courts of Justice has not changed in 25 years. We just get older.